Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fire and Effect, Grumpy Combat Veteran Media's somewhat daily podcast where I riff on what's ever on my mind. I am Will Salber, the owner of Grumpy Combat Veteran, also known as Colonel Retired Salber, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Salber. Somebody's going to be like, you're not a colonel, whatever. GCV6 or that asshole, no problem. Just coming in today, it's April Fool's Day. I've never been a big fan of that. It kind of defeats the purpose. Anyways, today, it's about 48 hours or so after my good friend was stabbed by another Afghan immigrant. If he's a refugee, from what my friend told me, he was not an American citizen, had been in the United States for 13 years, but never became a legal permanent resident. I think that's true. Anyways, look, the story is developing. I'm writing about it. So give me a little grace. I'm going to get some of the facts wrong. If you want me to do a better job, do me a favor. Subscribe. Become a paying member of Grumpy Combat Veteran Media. The money, the $50 a year, goes directly into the pockets of 3 Afghan refugees. My executive director is an Afghan refugee. My executive assistant's an Afghan refugee. And my senior podcast editor is an Afghan refugee. All of the writings I use for Grumpy Combat Veteran and any of the money I make from the Bulwark or any other publication goes straight into the hands of those 3 Afghans. Well-deserved, by the way. They're incredibly hardworking individuals. Each individually are amazing. So look, this is just me a way of saying, if you want me to do a more accurate job, I need more paid subscribers. We need more paid subscribers. We're offering founding members now get raw atmospherics, which is raw reporting from Afghanistan. It's not vetted. It's not intelligence. It's atmospheric. So I try to provide context statements in the reporting that can help those who are in the open source community kind of determine the validity of such reporting. But we're really trying to do more for you. You have multiple podcasts, daily ones, weekly ones, monthly ones, multiple different authors. So if you have a little bit of spare change, or if you're a baller on a budget, email us and we can work something out. But if you got $50 for the year, it goes to a good cause. A long story short, the attacks in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, that was on my friend, and Houston, at this point, I don't think they're related. Could turn, I don't think, unlikely. That doesn't mean they're not. That means 75% chance or so. I'm sorry, the sun's coming in over here. You'll deal with it. Unlikely related. The attack in Lancaster and Houston, again in Houston. They're similar. Both victims were former Afghan interpreters. The victim in Houston tragically was killed in the stabbing, and it seems to be the assailant, who was also an immigrant, I think an Afghan immigrant, was upset because his immigration case wasn't progressing. Now, at first, I found that hard to believe, but I found out that the victim did own a administrative service, which I've linked to in other articles, or I will. And so it seems like a plausible motive. It wasn't outside of an Islamic center, from some info I got from a really lovely lady who's a licensed clinical social worker in the area. So I kind of altered that a little bit. More than likely, it was a target of opportunity. He was stabbed outside of his home office, I believe that's correct, where he ran this business, which probably helped Afghan refugees in some way or another. So that was one case, Afghan on Afghan, during Ramadan, target of our Eid al-Fitr. So people are going to be somewhere. Now in Lancaster, with my good friend Ahmadullah, a couple days ago, in the early morning, I believe, that was a little different. It seems like both attackers or assailants knew the victims, and Arif Abdul Rashid knew Ahmadullah, from what Ahmadullah told us yesterday, had talked to him previously the night before. Ahmadullah did call the cops, from what he told me, and then he was attacked the next day. Now, Ahmadullah is a fairly well-known person in Afghan circles. He's not an unknown. So he was on Afghan television frequently, and he's always been a vocal opponent of the Taliban, even though he's a Pashtun. Okay, so when another attacker yells out American spy, Yahuda Meraki in Pashto, I'm going to kill you, right? I think I got that wrong. Let me get it. When someone comes out and yells, you're an American spy, I'm going to kill you, that should be taken as a possible indicator of domestic terrorism. From what Amadillah told us yesterday, his brother, Abdul Rashid's brother, had recently immigrated to the United States. Abdul Rashid also had another brother who has had some run-ins with the law. So look, it seems possible. Maybe it's not. Maybe it has nothing to do with it, and he just didn't like him, and it was personal. But it does underscore the fact that our Afghan allies vetted are at risk, either through incidents or through things that are domestic terrorism related. So, for my Afghan brothers and sisters, look, twice is a coincidence, three times a pattern. So, everybody keep their eye on, head on a swivel and look around, okay? I know a lot of y'all are worried about ICE, Immigration Custom Enforcement, understandably so. Please keep your documents on you at all times. Don't do anything silly like leave them at home. Memorize phone numbers that you will need if you are detained. If you can have an attorney, make sure you memorize that phone number. Memorize the phone numbers that you will need, because they may take your phone, they may take all the stuff out, so it's right here so you can call. Remember, if you're being questioned by a law enforcement official, depending on your legal status, you will have different rights. If you are confused about these things, please seek legal counsel. And remember, you have the right to remain silent. Use that right whenever you want. That's just a trick from a person who's graduated a couple of counter-interrogation courses. Smile, be polite, and tell them to call your lawyer, and that's perfectly fine. Be polite. Provide documents if you have them. Memorize phone numbers. Okay, and keep your head on a swivel. Zmujo and Diwalano, times are tough out there. A lot of our Afghan brothers and sisters are struggling because the refugee aid agencies have been slashed. So that safety net that they need, they're not there. And that really is a huge, it's not a lot, people, but it's something to provide that transition from recently arrived refugees. Now that's gone. So for a lot of our Afghan allies, times are tough. If you have even extra money, you want to throw it to a couple of nonprofits. I won't even go with mine first, okay? Global Friends of Afghanistan is a great one. I'm the deputy director, but it focuses more outward, looking for diplomatic solutions in Afghanistan. But one that kind of focuses on SIVs and immigrants, No One Left Behind, a great organization that I've been a contributor to for another time. If you want to get with somebody who focuses on females, Next Mission by Rebecca, who is founded, or the CEO, by Rebecca Edmondson, who also does a moral injury support group counseling. She leads that organization, and it's female tactical platoon members, focusing on them. Or you can go to the Afghan American Veterans Alliance, which I'm the president of, and it's run by Afghans, for Afghans, by Afghans. We provide as much assistance as we can through charitable donations to our Afghan brothers and sisters. For example, we recently helped someone offset some of the costs for a green card package. We were able to half it or something like that. And this was for someone of importance. We can't just do that for everyone. So please don't email me, okay? Because right now we don't have that type of budget. But those are the services that we do provide. And we try to also find economic opportunities for our Afghan brothers and sisters. More on that in future episodes. So I just wanted to say, in conclusion, that times are tough for our Afghan allies. Please, 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 if you're able to contribute to any of those organizations. If you hate my guts and hate everything I say, don't give the money to me. Give it to No One Left Behind. Give it to Mission Next Mission, whatever. Find one. Google. It's your friend, okay? But we could always use the support. Whoever you support in the wider Afghan space is great. I don't care. We're all on the same team, rowing together somewhat chaotically to try to get to the destination. To all my Afghan brothers and sisters trapped behind enemy lines, this is GCV6 saying, Eid al-Fitr, happy Eid al-Fitr, Ramadan Mubarak. You are always on my mind. You're always in my prayers. You are not forgotten. And some of us are doing everything we can to help liberate you. This is GCV6, and as always, until next time, I'm out.